Welcome to Laying Fallow. I'm Donna Von Brunning. Today I speak with Lucia Hoyt-Torres, who was a communications major at Savannah Arts Academy. She headed to Kennesaw State University in the fall of 2020 to study entrepreneurship. She plans to graduate in 2025. So, when we start with your quote. Do you remember your quote?
I reread it earlier.
Did you?
So, yeah,
The only
I
person
wanted to
who
be
has.
prepared.
Everybody freaks out. Okay. So I'm just going to read it. When I made my decision to attend Savannah Arts, I was hesitant. Going to SAA meant giving up my high school traditions like homecoming or football games. Fast forward to now, and I wouldn't change my decision for the world. I was able to experience so many amazing things like Junk to Funk, Film Fest, and attending concerts and shows that showcased all of my friends. I also played soccer all 4 years, and the team became like a family to me. These 4 years have taught me to live in the moment and cherish the good times. I'm just grateful for all the memories and friendships and going to Kennesaw State. I'm excited to make more memories and happy now that I understand that the good times don't last. Did it make you a little sad?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, probably 80% of the people got teary,
Really?
at some point in this.
Yeah.
Because
I miss high school so much.
yeah,
And then senior year got stripped away.
you gave up traditions to attend SAA. So, how do you feel about traditions? Because you didn't get a graduation, really.
Just for school traditions?
Yeah, just traditions in general. Did losing that and soccer and everything else, losing those traditions, make you crave traditions more or appreciate them more? Or did they kind of make you oh, well.
I think it kind of made me say, oh, well, just because in college, I really didn't go to any homecoming or football games or I didn't do a lot of college, honestly. I just stayed hanging out with friends and I don't know. I didn't do a lot of clubs. I didn't really have the college experience like that. But
So tell me what you've done the past 4 years. Where are you in life?
so I'm still at Kennesaw State.
Okay.
I should be graduating next year, spring. I
don't need to know everything. So you went to Kennesaw and you stayed at Kennesaw.
Yes, I did
Okay.
change my major though. I was a psychology major and then I changed it to entrepreneurship.
Oh, neat. They have a really good school for that
They
too,
do
don't
for
they? I thought
business,
so, yeah.
So I thought it was really cool that they offered that because a lot of schools don't have entrepreneurship
Yeah.
as a major.
I remember touring and thinking that was a really cool.
Yeah. So I'm doing that. I became a barista, which I've always wanted to do. I work at this little shop called Honeysuckle that's 6 minutes from there. So a lot of the students work there as well. And I've made a lot of my really good friends there.
Yeah.
And
Do you love it? Is it what you thought it would be?
I love it so much.
Really?
But Honeysuckle?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
being a barista.
Everyone has become my best friend and we hang out all the time. We have dinner parties and we go out together and yeah,
So that's your group. That's awesome.
that is my group.
Do you live on, they don't make you live on campus, right? Now you,
No, I lived there for 6 months, but I got really depressed because everything was online. So I had no social interaction. I think that's also what kind of took away the tradition, the craving, because I realized it didn't really matter in college anyways. And then my best friend, Julia, I've been going to school with for a long time, she got into SCAD. And so she moved up and we lived together. So I moved out of the
SCAD
dorms.
Atlanta. Okay.
So I moved out of the dorms and we,
Right away.
after 6 months, because I couldn't stand it. But
And on top of it, that's a tough campus.
yeah.
It's huge. A ton of people go to school there, but it's a big commuter school.
Yeah, and since everything was online, no one was on campus. It was so dead. And then when they finally lifted the mask mandate and all that stuff, then I actually saw Kennesaw for what it is I don't know if this is a lie, but it's the third biggest. I think a lot of Kennesaw, what makes up for it is the online students too.
There's a lot of that. So you went there. Did you ever think about transferring or you liked it? Even despite the...
Honestly, no. I actually really enjoyed it. I liked that it was not in the city. I mean, I got into Georgia State, but I didn't want to live in the city, and I liked having a car, and I liked being close enough to Savannah to where I could come.
Buzz home
4
for the
hours
weekend.
really isn't that bad for me, but it's far enough to where I'm not all the way. Yeah.
Yep. Love that. Has the journey of the past 4 years been what you thought it would be or not at all? And I'm talking about from the perspective of prior to the COVID shutdown, senior year, and looking forward, like what you think college is going to be like or what you think your life is going to be like?
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I expected probably to be in a lot more clubs and be more in the like college scene. But I realized that it wasn't really my jam. Like I'm not in a sorority. I don't really do any sports on campus, but I made a lot of my friends outside of school. And I guess I'd probably thought I'd have like a big girl job by now, but I don't know.
It's still early.
Yeah. Once I got into college, I was like, I'm not really in a rush for anything and try and enjoy being young and not,
Yes, it's still early. Plus, the way it started for you guys, it was not a smooth transition. I mean, a lot of people stayed home. A lot of people didn't go, changed school, like all of it.
A lot of people transferred after like a year or two. So they all like just stayed home and saved up money and stuff. So
For sure. Yeah, it wasn't at all, it wasn't at all what it was supposed to be for you guys. And that's a lot of what makes me so curious. It's not that you lost prom and film fest and graduation. To me, it's more that you lost that launch year, whatever you were launching to.
yeah.
Whether you were, starting trade school, going to college, getting a job, like you were just stuck.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your biggest loss in the past 4 years. And it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a person, or people have given me all kinds of answers.
Probably going back to high school, senior year. I don't know.
Yeah?
That's always going to be my biggest loss, I think.
Yeah.
I really loved high school a lot, and I loved all my friends so much. I had a really positive experience. And so losing like senior year with people that a lot of people, I mean, I went to Garrison, which was the middle school, arts. So that's where everyone like came from. So I had all my friends since like 6th grade and more in Savannah Arts. And then senior night for soccer, I was really bummed about. I was the captain of the varsity team. And then I won prom princess the year prior. So I was going to run for prom queen for that, which isn't the biggest deal. But it's still just like,
It's part of the fun.
I don't know.
And that's not anything you can go back and do.
But at least I always say like I was the only person crowned for my years. So basically
So you were the queen.
I'm just going to take it.
Just take it. You were the queen. You were the queen for sure. Well, what was the grief process like for you when you realized it was happening and then it was just never?
I remember finding out with my friend Emma. We were driving around, and then I think we got an email saying that the 2 weeks was actually becoming like the rest of the year. And she called me, or we weren't together. She called me and she was crying and she told me about it. So then we went and got slushies and cried in the car together. And yeah, I think I did cry a lot. I cried when we were doing the like drive-by graduation and they were all taking pictures of everyone. And I remember the picture they put, I was like crying in it and like seeing all the teachers. It was really depressing. And I think walking the stage, actually going back to the loss, like I've never walked, and that's why it's such a big deal. I mean, I plan on graduating college, but I really need to, just because that's a tradition that I really want, actually. Like,
One of the questions I ask a lot of people is, who did graduate, who did walk? I'm like, was that walk important to you? And it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Some people just didn't care, but some people were, yes.
Yeah.
Like had to do it.
Because for the senior one where we had for high school, I think I was sitting on my couch with like my family, and I had my like little hat on, and then my name came up and I did that, and that was it.
What has been the greatest lesson of the past 4 years?
I would say probably don't close yourself off as much. When I first started, I mean, I used to be, I think I still am, like a pretty shy, introverted person, but COVID didn't help because that's kind of, they're pushing you out on your own. You're leaving the nest of like living with your parents, and then you get into this dorm and you're not really like meeting or interacting with anyone. But I think after a couple years, I started putting myself out there and like talking to people and trying to get to hang out. And then working at Honeysuckle has really helped too. And I reached out to people and like, do you want to maybe not be coworkers and be friends instead? Like maybe turn it into more of like a relationship, like a friendship. And now I've just made like a really good community there. and it's a lot more comfortable than it has been.
Did you have to like purposely say to yourself, okay, I have to go out of my comfort zone and like take a risk and talk to people, invite people, ask people to be my friend?
Definitely when I had started Honeysuckle. I mean, everyone there is really cool and they're all
When
the
did you
same
start
age.
that?
I would say like the first 3 months.
Of school?
Oh, no, sorry, of working there. I think I would say it was sophomore year.
Okay.
And I didn't really talk that much. But then as I got comfortable, everyone was really cool and funny. And yeah, just getting comfortable with them and then putting yourself out there. And yeah.
All right. Do you think personal relationships that you or your peers, it doesn't have to be you, have been affected by COVID? And by this, I mean, did you find that you or people around you, don't necessarily have to be your friends, but people you knew of in high school or whatever, like held on to relationships too long because it was comfortable, or let go?
During COVID?
Mm-hmm. Like that period of that year where you couldn't really do much.
I think people let go a lot. I think once, especially not even like about COVID, but I think once you leave high school, like that's when you realize like which friendships are going to last a lot longer, because it's like a two-way street. I feel like some of my friendships ended just because, I'd reach out and they wouldn't. And sometimes vice versa. I feel like people just naturally drift off. So it's not just because of COVID, but yeah, I think having the distance between everyone during college too, like kind of helps with that.
So you say, like, I've had people in two different camps. So you say some people stayed in their little high school bubble and didn't leave. And your experience was the opposite, that people just kind of drifted apart.
I would say so. I mean, it's been helpful though with like technology now too, that you can like reach out and it's super quick and easy and like FaceTiming, but it's also like life gets in the way of that, and you're going to school and you're making new friends and you have different hobbies that you're doing, and sometimes it just naturally happens. But
that's life for sure. Yeah. Speaking of that, talk to me about social media. And I ask this because, one, you guys are the first digital natives. Mm-hmm. Two, when you started high school, so you guys that, people that I think are 23, 22, 21 even, all the social media apps were new. Mm-hmm. So they weren't developed. The algorithm thing wasn't there. Doom scrolling wasn't really a thing. Do you just kind of tell me how you feel about it?
I think it's a great way to keep in touch and see what's going on in people's lives, but I think it's pretty toxic. I'm very obsessed with it, and it's unnatural. I feel like there are times that my phone will die and I find myself reaching for it and going on it, and I'm like, wait, my phone's been dead for like 20 minutes. And there can be like negative aspects to it as well, just because cyberbullying is the thing. And like, I feel like Savannah Arts had a lot of like weird like accounts being made that were kind of like coming at specific people and posting about it. I feel like it's very toxic, and I've gone like months without it, like deleting it all and just being on Pinterest and like looking at recipes. Like that's all I did, and it was great. It's like a breath of fresh air, but it's like very addicting. And sometimes I wish that we didn't grow up with it. So that's all we kind of know.
What made you get back on it when you would take the break?
I was feeling cute and I wanted people to see what I was
Fair enough,
like.
yeah.
Yeah. I go in and out of it. I try to limit myself on them sometimes, but it's hard. I feel connected with people on there too. But it's really, you're just looking at people's lives. You're not actually in them. Like there are some people that I follow from high school that I haven't talked to in 4 years, but it's like, I don't know. I know what they did last night because they posted about it. It's not really necessary, but it's a way to like keep in touch.
Keep in touch a little bit. Because of that connection, do you feel like with some of those people that maybe they were your outer circle of friends? I say you have your inner circle, and then you kind of have that outer circle that are more like acquaintances. Because you kind of know them a little bit or keep up with them on social media, do you feel like you could, I'm just curious, pick up the phone and call them? Or reach out and be like, hey.
Definitely reach out. I actually have been running into people because I guess everyone's graduated and they're coming back home. And so I've been I've been running into a lot of people that I wasn't super close with. They're kind of just like, let's hang out. Like, it's just being acquaintance is enough, I think, to reach out and maybe see if there's a connection.
Now that you're a little bit older.
Yeah, and it's nice to know people, especially like when you're coming back. And
do you think because of what you guys went through that makes that a little bit easier? Like you had this unique experience.
Yeah, that we can bond over and talk about. I feel like when I get with certain high school acquaintances, that does come up a lot.
There is a phenomenon called the quarter century crisis. You know, where you're 25, you're kind of disillusioned, like, what happened? I thought I'd be further along. So spoiled. Do you think that there's a strong possibility that your class, your age, people your age will experience this? Or do you think you already kind of felt it with COVID and that disappointment?
I feel like COVID, it definitely affected me in the first couple of years of college, but I don't think it affected me that much to where it's like I'm freaking out about it now. I'm like where I need to be. My parents and my family have always been the type that are like, take your time, like don't stress. You don't need to be anywhere at any specific time. You can do anything at your own pace. So that's also really helped me not freak out too much. But I've definitely had moments where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm about to graduate. What do I do? Do I go master's or something? But for me, I don't think COVID affected it that much, but I'm sure it has affected other people.
When I was going to do this and I went back and looked, like I was looking for studies about what happened to you guys. Because there's all kinds of stuff about, like, there was just something in the New York Times today about how all these little kids entering kindergarten don't know how to do anything. They don't know how to play. They don't know. They're behind in reading because of the masks and they didn't see mouths, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then the class of 2020 college, tons of information about them because they graduated into a recession and like couldn't get jobs or anything. There's literally nothing about high school and what happened to you guys. So that kind of even more prompted me to do this because I'm like, well, at least I can get this group's stories down for whatever purpose. You know, I'm just going to put it out in the universe and see what happens to it and see whatever happens. But one of the things I did find is that your generation, I keep saying that, but doesn't have as much sex as we did.
Really?
Yes, very much so. Wouldn't you think?
I feel like once you go to college, that's when you kind of just like,
well,
go crazy. I don't know.
For sure. And your high school was different, right? I mean, I loved it. I thought it was the coolest place on earth. Yeah. But, you know, you're right. You didn't have those traditions. There's more girls than guys, whatever. But yeah, you go to college and you kind of spread out or whatever.
Yeah. You're not home. Like, you don't have to come back to your parents' house.
Yeah, or you can do whatever you want, and you're out meeting people, doing things. And so I'm curious what you have to say about it, especially with regards to social media. Like, what did you, and we're not talking about you personally, what did you observe?
I feel like people don't know how to flirt or pick up anyone in person, and I've always kind of wanted to experience that, but it's like, I feel like the social anxiety got worse because of COVID and people don't know how to interact like that. So then they use the dating apps. And I feel like that's what's made like hookup culture so much worse in my generation too, just because, you know, people will text and then link up and then that's it. I feel like people aren't really looking for actual connections that much anymore. It's more just like, how many people can I hook up with?
Yeah, quite a few people made comments about how they just wish they could experience what it was like when, say, I was in college, where you'd be at a bar and any random night.
I know, like, you don't need your phone. I've felt the same, and I've talked to my mom because, like, I feel like she's had a lot of experiences with that too, and they didn't have phones really like that. So, you know, you just had to have charm. And I've never really been like, it's always been like, can I get your number? And then that's it. And then they leave. I feel like phones have made it way too easy to like meet people. And then.
But not really meet people.
I've had some good experiences, but they're always like older. Like that. I mean, not good experiences, but you know, like they're the ones who
good
actually,
older or bad older?
Like 30.
How old?
Like maybe 30.
That's a little old.
I know, but they're the actual ones who will just be like, hey, can I get to be drink? Blah, blah. I usually buy my friend a drink too.
Yeah.
And then I don't see them again that night. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think they see it as that important to like make those connections. So we're just like,
I'm sad for you guys.
yeah.
I mean, a couple people mentioned purposely like joining stuff, or somebody mentioned like going back to church, like just trying to find ways to meet people organically.
Yeah, or genuine.
Rather than going on Hinge or Bumble or whatever the latest one is. There's always a new one. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Something else I discovered when doing my research is a lot of academics labeled what you guys went through as trauma, like losing that as trauma. Would you say it was trauma, or is that too strong of a word for you?
For me, I think that's too strong of a word. I would say it was traumatic at the beginning, like when it happened, just because I was losing so much in a small amount of time. And then that was it. I was never going to be in the same school or the same like area as all these people who I loved like a lot. But it was more just like a learning experience. You kind of have to turn into a learning experience, or else you're going to be depressed about it for a while. So
anyone around you, do you feel like it was trauma for them? Or do you think people just were able to?
I think people were able to just kind of move past it, just because, I mean, people still had like a good experience in college from what I've seen. Everyone has, a good time, and they post a lot and they're having fun. But so I don't think it was that traumatic for them. Maybe just freshman year at the beginning. But also college, like for the first time, is kind of traumatic anyways. I don't know. Because like you're on your own, and then my parents dropped me off and they left, and you're like, what am I doing?
The past 4 years have thrust all kinds of social issues at you guys, starting with like right after COVID, Black Lives Matter that summer, the Me Too movement, the loss of Roe versus Wade, the war on Hamas. All of this around you, do you feel like it's made you more empathetic to the causes or more desensitized because it's constantly in your face?
I would honestly say more desensitized, probably. I feel like so much has been going on in the past 4 years. Like, I feel like I can't breathe sometimes. It's just because there's always something going on, and there's a lot of like different movements, and then wars are happening, and yeah.
How do you manage it? Do you shut it all off?
I mean, it's kind of hard to do that just because, social media, bring that back in. Everyone's always constantly posting about it, and then I'd like to be educated on the matter, like of all of them, but then it's just like, it's so much sometimes, and it's so exhausting. So I kind of battle with that too. Like, I know it's important to know what's going on, but then at the same time, like, there's too much. It's too much.
You have to, A, choose your battles. It has to mean something to you. And 2, protect your peace.
Yeah. And I'm also early 20s trying to get through life right now too, which I've read that like, your 20s are the times like the most confusing. You're trying to figure out what you're doing, where you're living. So I'm already dealing with my own stuff right now.
Right. So. Sometimes you do and you're like, I hate this.
Also, 9 times out of 10, I feel like the job you end up doing has nothing to do with your degree sometimes. My dad just got his first big boy job right now, and he's like in his 50s. So
didn't your dad own
Fork and Dagger, and
what was before that? Forum. That's what I remember.
And
I used to buy cheesecakes from him.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
He calls himself the Cheesecake King.
Yeah. So he just got a big boy job?
Yeah, he's the food and beverage director at Savannah Quarters. And
yeah.
And that's where I'm working right now.
Yeah. Does he like it?
He does.
Yeah.
Actually.
Was he just sick of, it's hard. As an entrepreneur, it's hard to be an entrepreneur.
He went through like, I want to say 4 businesses maybe. And the last 2 were like him and my mom that did it together. They're not together. They haven't been together for like since I was 8.
Really?
They're just really cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but they...
how lucky for you that they have such a great relationship.
Yeah, but then, sometimes like working with your family, and then it's so much of this going through all 3 of us. And then now my mom's actually the full like restaurant bar manager at Savannah Quarters also, because my dad was like, I need her. She's so good with numbers. And because she's like more than numbers, and she's really good with money. My dad's not, but he's very social.
He's the creative.
Very good. Yeah. So them together was good. But
that sounds like a perfect combo for the business they were in.
Yeah.
And where do you fall in that?
I'm the bartender at the pool.
No, like numbers.
Oh,
Visionary, creative, social?
so
Or do you have the best of both?
I would say, so I grew up being the cook, like in the restaurants that they owned. And I actually got into this culinary school, Johnson and Wales.
Yo, sure.
Yeah, but I didn't know if I wanted to go there just because I knew how to do it. Like I kind of knew how to cook, or if I was like actually passionate about it. So I was like, well, since I have this already, I might as well learn like the business side of owning a business and all that. So if I ever want to own my own restaurant, I'll have both my mom and my dad
Tucked in
together
you.
instead of just having one or the other. So
I love that for you.
yeah,
That's amazing.
I don't think I want to own my own business. I just chose it because I didn't have a specific thing I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do business. And for entrepreneurship, you learn like every aspect and everything on how to run a business and how to fund one and market one. So
Which is perfect. You need to know all those things.
yeah, so I thought it was like a good like jack of all trades. So any internship I get, I'll have like a little bit of.
Are you enjoying it?
I am, I think. I want to get my master's in finance, but that's only a maybe because I don't know what I want to do after I graduate. But I'd like to keep going on something. And
There's
more
so
focused.
many things you could do.
I know. But I feel like once you have a degree in business, you can do really anything.
You can go in any direction.
And it's good to have a degree. It just shows that you finished something.
So some of your classmates, and I don't know how in touch you are or not in touch you are with the general population of your class, some of them have gotten married.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of them that got married. A lot of them are still with their high school sweethearts. The stats are, I think it's 5 to 10% of people who start a relationship in high school make it
Yeah.
to marriage. And out of that, it's a ridiculously low number that stay married. I don't know if you've noticed that when you see people or the people you talk to or on social media. And if you think that that is a direct result, or not even direct, but a result of COVID, because there is something called the turkey dump. And it's like 80% of high school relationships in college don't make it to Thanksgiving. And that doesn't seem to have happened for your class.
We've stayed married.
Like stayed in these high school relationships.
I would definitely say that COVID maybe pushed people to stay together longer just because, I don't know, actually. I feel like, I don't know.
I mean, have you noticed in your trajectory that people have stayed together or no? Or are you shocked?
I think
when
they
you
have stayed together and it's been kind of confusing to me and like my friends sometimes because we're always on their page like they're still together. I mean, some people have broken up, but some people have had babies.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can you
they're just
imagine?
not really comfortable with those people, and it's like scary to think about a life without them because you know they went through COVID together, and they maybe that helped them
All the
bond even
uncertainty.
more, or
That's what I'm thinking.
gave them someone to hold on to and like have during that time of like nothing. I mean, no one was really socializing. Everyone was online talking, and yeah, I could definitely see them maybe breaking up later on in life.
What do you think people misunderstand about 22-year-olds today?
I feel like every generation that is older is always going to look not necessarily down on the younger generations, but sometimes they're going to think that they're dumb or like immature, or like they're not like too experienced in life. But I would say just like the experience, like they don't think that maybe COVID actually, I feel like COVID has pushed us to like figure out things sooner or like grow up a little faster than we were supposed to, just because we didn't get to have like those first few years of like being a kid and being reckless and stuff. We were kind of just, or rather for me, I don't know, living out on your own. Maybe for college too, like since you're going off in college, like you're forced to figure out certain things that you weren't taught in school, like how to write a check or how to go to the bank, how to take care of car stuff. I've been through like 4 cars in the last 4 years.
Oh, geez.
None of them were my fault, though. I've just had really bad luck. I've had my car stolen. I've had my car break down on the highway in Atlanta. Like, I've had to deal with so much stuff. But I feel like maybe just the experience, like, they don't think that we're grown enough to, like, make certain decisions in our life.
And last question. What are you going to do with your one big life?
Travel. I'm
Yeah?
gonna travel. I'm gonna try to travel as much as I can. I've always had the dream. This is like my dream life, is to find a really good remote job that makes me a lot of money. And I'd love to travel and then move to Spain when I'm older. I was born in Spain, so I would get my citizenship there, and it'd be super easy to do that. I've been looking into it. And then learn Spanish because my father never taught me. I know, it's so annoying.
He speaks?
He's Puerto Rican.
So he's fluent?
Yeah, he is fluent. He's just annoying sometimes, but it's okay. Yeah, that's my goal, to live on the beach and then travel everywhere.
Have you traveled yet? A little bit?
Yeah, I've been to Belize junior year, and then I went to Panama with Julia for Thanksgiving.
Did you like Panama?
I did actually. We were on like this all-inclusive like resort thing. In Belize, we didn't do that. We were more like in the city and going in caves, and like we're on canoes and stuff, like going into these caves. It was so cool. But yeah, I'm ready to make big girl money so that I can actually travel and do that stuff.
You haven't been to Spain yet?
I'm going. So my grandmother, for my graduation for high school, she gave me a credit of a certain amount of money so I can travel anywhere in the world. And so I said Spain. So my mom and I are going to go back and like see all these people that have known me since I was a baby but haven't seen me in 20-something years.
Is your mom from Spain?
No, she's from Florida. They moved there.
Okay, I was like, what's the Spain connection?
Yeah, so it wasn't even my dad's dream. My mom is just like a really big traveler and she gets stuff done. So my mom and my dad were dating and she was like, I want to move to Spain. So she sold all of her stuff and she was like, you can come if you want to. And he was like, okay. So then they moved to Spain and she had a connection there. I think she had a friend who worked at the restaurant or a restaurant. So they got jobs there. And then I guess they never got deported. They weren't legally supposed to be living there for that long. But my dad was so social and so good talking to people. And the police loved my parents so much. And they just never even asked.
They just looked the other way.
Yeah. So that's how.
How long were they there?
I would say, I think they were there for 5 years. So I lived there till I was 2 or maybe 3.
So you were born there and you lived there. Did you?
I was supposed to grow up
Did they ever get married?
No. I was supposed to grow up there, but then there was some family drama. So then my mom was like, gotta go. But I've always thought like what could have been like me growing up in Spain would be so cool.
I know, how romantic, right?
I know Spanish. Like, I don't
Guess what? You can move to Spain.
I know. Yeah, that is the dream.
Thanks for listening to Laying Fallow. Be sure to listen to the rest of the episodes, and to learn more and see the portraits from both 2020 and 2024, head over to my website, www.donnavonbruning.com, or to my Instagram, @DonnaVonBruning.